กลับมาอยู่ด้วยกันในรายการ Welcome Bro Weekend นะครับในช่วง Let's Talk ของเราวันนี้หยิบยกประเด็นเรื่องของกีฬาบาสเกตบอลมาพูดกันนะครับและแขกรับเชิญที่มาพูดคุยกันวันนี้ก็คือโค้ชทิม ลิวิสเป็นโค้ชผู้ฝึกสอนของทีมบาสเกตบอลประเทศไทยนะครับ So as I remember correctly, you have coached in several countries around the world, like the UK, like Japan, Germany, and Spain as well, right?
Spain, yeah, Canada, US.
Canada, US as well. So you've been to multinational teams. And how has it been, the experience?
I mean, it's been a great experience. I mean, basketball is basketball wherever you go in the world. I mean, obviously, it's what's different is the cultures that you live in.
Right.
So that's the biggest adjustment. You know, teaching basketball, coaching basketball here or in Japan or in Spain, Germany, England is, it's the same.
Right.
You've got to find ways of delivering it differently sometimes. But,
right. So you've been coaching for Thailand national basketball team for 5 months.
5 months, yeah.
Approximately.
Yeah, since April, since the Stankovic Cup.
Have you seen any huge progress in the team?
I mean, we saw a lot of progress in the Stankovic Cup from the day that we started practice to the point where we finished, made the final against the Philippines, and we saw huge strides there. We've obviously just got back from the FIBA Asia Challenge in Iran, and we took a very young team with us, an inexperienced team, and for multiple reasons. I mean, one of it, the big part was to see whether or not those young players could play at that level,
right?
To give them experience. It wasn't so much about going there to win games. I mean, those are bonuses.
Right, but it was quite unfortunate though for the Stankovic when you guys were in the finals and competing with Philippines. I actually watched that match and we almost got there. We almost there.
Yeah, I mean, we like I say, we made. The players, and it's all credit to the players. I mean, they took on board what we wanted to do, the philosophy of how we wanted to play at both ends of the floor, and they embraced that.
Right.
And they really grew. Like I say, over the course of 5-6 weeks, they really grew as a team. And I think the future is bright. I mean, we've got to continue to find new players and develop the players that we have, and grow the team. But based on the improvement we saw in such a short space of time,
right?
Then it's exciting, and I think people are prepared to embrace it. They want to get better, they want to learn, and they're prepared to absorb the information that they're being given. So it's hugely positive.
You guys had quite a short period of time as well, since you coached the team for like several months, and then you competed in several leagues, in several competitions, and in FIBA, even though you lost, you actually got a lot of experience from competing with other countries as well, right?
It was hard. I mean, you combine inexperience, the youthfulness, and we only had, I think it was like 12 sessions before we went.
Right.
Based on that, the performances were good. I mean, we played, we played career in the first game, and it was a little bit sort of rabbits in the headlights coming out of the gates.
Right.
We led Japan for a good portion of the game, and were competitive for probably 3/4 of it.
Right.
And then we lost Qatar by 2. We had the ball with 6.7 seconds to go, and various situations we lost the ball. So, based on the personnel we took and the level of teams that we're playing, I would say it was a hugely successful trip. I think it showed people that Thailand basketball, is capable of competing.
And it's progressing as well.
Yeah, it's progress. We didn't take up some of our better players. And the future is bright, especially with some of the young talent that we saw in Iran that were given the opportunity to play and prove that they can play at that level.
Right. You mentioned it before that one of the obstacles is conditioning and finding more players. What do you expect? What are you looking for the new player that you want to recruit?
I mean, I think the biggest thing that we took away, there are a number of things we took away from being in Iran as a national team, and the number one thing was that. Our strength and conditioning compared to other teams was below average.
Right. So basically, you got drained it.
Yeah,
quite
we weren't able to compete with them. My height doesn't worry me so much. I mean, at times it can be a hindrance, but if we're physically capable of dealing with bigger players, our conditioning in order to last the length of games,
endurance. Basically.
Yeah, our endurance just wasn't good enough, and it's not something that's ever really been invested in here. And I think we came away from that and said, this is a priority. We got to as a national team, but also it goes back to what I said to you before about club teams, in not just one or two teams, that everybody has to invest in this process. Like we need teams in every club to be at the level of a national team player, and we don't know what that is yet. We've got to define that, but as time moves forward, we'll do that.
But then again, conditioning can be improved.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
it can be trained.
There is investment that's needed. You know, we need to get professionals in that can guide us and drive that for us. You know, everything we identified, you know, can be improved. We got to play against better teams on a regular basis, international teams. You know, play Korea, play Japan, go and play China, and learn from them. We can affect that.
Right.
You know, so it's and then obviously just skill development in terms of just, you know, making sure that people understand how we as a national team want to play, and clubs have a responsibility to help develop players to play within that system and within that style of basketball.
But when we talk about basketball to people in general, they would say, like in Thailand we have, you know, the physical disability, I mean like physical disadvantage in terms of height. But you said that height is not really a big problem.
I mean, we competed against Qatar were considerably bigger than us. Japan were bigger than us. You know, we competed with Iran for 20 minutes of a game against bigger size. We're not, you know, we have some decent size, but we're just not physically robust enough. You know, it was like man against boys.
So it backs to the training. And,
I mean, we obviously want to try and find a type of player. Like we want to find taller players, and it's something we need to identify. You know, how do we do that?
So those of you who are watching here, so be prepared. If you're tall enough, if you have if you think you're good at basketball, please join the team.
Absolutely. I mean, we're always looking for you know, tall and long athletes.
Right.
You know, because they suit basketball, the type of game that it is. So yeah, absolutely. Anybody that's out there that's tall and young, we're always looking.
So your goal now as a coach for Thailand basketball national team, do you expect to win at the National League first and then move forward to the
so we've obviously got the national leagues here in terms of the TBSL and stuff, where players we expect players to play and develop and grow, and then on an international stage, it's not going to happen overnight. It's you know, it's a process,
it's a long process.
We've got to affect the things we talked about: strength and conditioning, playing high level teams, you know, having more time with those players as a national team, and I believe that given the right support, the backing, the finances to do that, and finding new players all the time, younger players that are, you know, underneath the older players, you know, then there's a chance for Thailand basketball to be, you know,
competing in
to be high level within Southeast Asia. And I think the fact that we did that, we competed with some of those teams recently in the FIBA Challenge, shows that when we have a full complement of players, and you know, we address those issues that we talked about, then you know, we can start making
got a chance.
Yeah, we can start making some noise in the Southeast Asian Championships.
Right. The dream goal though is to compete, as you said, in international level, and you know, the dream goal is probably the NBA.
I mean, we as a national team, you know, for us, you know, it's going to be you know, Southeast Asian Championships, and it's the Asia Championships, then it's the World Cup, and then it's the Olympics. So we would never as a team compete in the NBA, but as individuals, you know, their aspirations may to play in, you know, EuroLeague or to go and play in the NBA, you know, which are the highest level leagues in the world.
Right.
So, but for us as a national team, it's a clear progression. You know, we've got Southeast Asia, World Cup, the Olympics, and those are the things that we as a national team have to aspire to.
But at what point would you say that when we reach there and it would be comparable to the NBA league? would
I
you
mean, the
say that?
Olympics and the World Cup, you're going to be playing against teams that are, they've got 3 or 4 NBA players in each of those teams. It's so, even the EuroLeague, you've got high-level players, which is a club competition. But, generally, you're getting closer and closer the higher the level you go. So when you start getting to the World Cup and you start getting to the Olympics, those are going to mirror, not exactly, but they're going to have, a lot of players that are playing or have played in the NBA.
And how gifted are our players in terms of, the natural gifted from birth?
We have some very naturally talented players. I mean, it's encouraging. I mean, like I say, you got to continue to try and find them, and it makes a big difference. And then the biggest thing for us is you've got to spend time to develop them. You can't just rely on natural ability, which I think sometimes happened. And it's not just here. That's indicative of leagues around the world where players have natural ability and they just are left to their own means. But we have to take time to invest in them.
Would you say that Thailand actually need a celebrity athletes in terms of basketball player, where we set this role model that he plays good basketball, he perhaps makes good money, and that would encourage younger people to play
absolutely.
more basketball?
And it doesn't need to be on a global stage. I mean, it can be just on a Thailand stage at the moment. A Thai player that is, that players can aspire to mirror. Whether it's the lifestyle, the money, the team that they play on, whatever it is that they do, is always going to help players. Or do I want to play football, or do I want to play
basketball or baseball,
soccer or
blah,
basketball.
blah, blah, blah.
So, whenever you have high-profile athletes, that's always helps with the image of the game. And if the image of the game is high, then you're going to have young players that are attracted to it.
Yeah, because when we talk to younger people, when we talk to students in high school perhaps, and they always said like the soccer player in international level, they get paid like, I don't know, billions, hundreds of millions US dollars, and that's quite a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
and in basketball, they get paid a lot as well.
I mean, people are making $150 million. I mean, it's it's a huge sport and entertainment industry, especially in the United States or in Premier League soccer, and is huge financially. I mean, we're not anywhere near that, in terms of that.
But we can start.
But in a comparative league, and when you make comparisons, you can still have players that are making good money for the country you're in, and a lifestyle and a sport that becomes sexy to them because they want those things. Yeah, they want those things that those athletes are able to afford, and that's it's just a smaller version of what you see in the NBA. We're never going to be the NBA. We're never going to be the EuroLeague, but we can be ourselves, and we have to appeal to young Thailand players that this is a great sport to be involved with. For these reasons, you can make a living from it. It's a full-time job and all that stuff.
As you said before, that it is a long process, that it could not be done overnight. As a coach, what do you expect in a short term for the Thailand basketball team?
I mean, for us, is to be competitive at an international level. I mean, in terms of it's not based on wins and losses. It's like, do we see improvement? Are we identifying younger talent? Are we starting to compete with the teams that are in with our regions? I mean, there's, we have the Southeast, the SEBA tournament, which will be in May, and we have the SEA Games, which are going to be in August. For us, those will be, priorities in terms of competitions that are achievable for us, to win. We're obviously always in an environment with the Philippines, which is hard. But I think, given time, we'll close the distance and the gap between that. We have the athletes, we have the body types here that can do it. But we have to be realistic. It's not about qualifying for the World Championships in 3 years' time.
Definitely.
That's always in the back of our mind, and that's always something that we would aspire.
It's good to have gold, but do not over.
But we have to be open-minded about it, and I think as long as we're smart and we take it bit by bit, piece by piece, not try and miss any steps. It's when we try and miss steps or try and do things too quickly where we're going to struggle. So I think as long as we take the time, we have continued support from companies like Mono, then like I said to you earlier, the future is bright.
So it's better to take it slow than to trip.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And what the last question is that what would you like to say to our viewers about the basketball popularity in Thailand and why should they watch basketball?
I mean, yeah, for me, it's the best sport in the world. I mean, it's it's indoors, it's out of the rain.
Right.
It's, you don't have an issue with cold here, but it's an entertaining sport. I mean, I think you get something with basketball you don't get with soccer. I mean, it's a complete entertainment package. You've got music, you got the dances, you got interaction with the players, and that's a big part of it. I think soccer and some of these other things, there's just there's very little interaction with players. You're right on top of the court. And it's a fun game to watch. It's end to end. There's always something going. It's not 0-0 at the end of a game.
Right.
Nobody scored a goal. You're guaranteed of baskets being scored and action happening for 40 minutes.
Right.
So it's high entertainment, and I think whether you watch it live or whether you get onto Mono 29 and you watch it on the TV station, they did a great job, and it makes it exciting on TV as well as it does live.
Which is quite weird because you're from England and you like basketball more than soccer.
Yeah, I never grew up with. I mean, I watch soccer, but it's
right.
I played a lot of rugby and I played a lot of basketball when I was young, and that for those reasons, because it's just the sport is so much more involved.
Right.
There's something going on all the time.
Well, that's fascinating, and thank you very much for joining with us today. It's great to have you again.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to have you in our program again soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah. คุณผู้ชมครับอย่างที่พูดคุยกับโค้ชทีมลูอิสนะครับว่าสำหรับทีมบาสของประเทศไทยเองนั้นยังพัฒนาได้อีกมากนะครับยังมีช่องว่างที่เราสามารถผลักดันให้ก้าวขึ้นไปสู่ระดับภูมิภาคและระดับโลกต่อไปนะครับสิ่งที่สำคัญก็คือการพัฒนานักกีฬาบาสเกตบอลตั้งแต่ที่พวกเขายังเป็นเด็กๆอยู่นะครับนอกจากนี้ยังมีเรื่องของการที่เราจะต้องพัฒนาศักยภาพหรือว่าสรีระด้านร่างกายให้มีความอดทนและความแข็งแรงมากยิ่งขึ้นด้วยถึงจะสามารถต่อสู้กับทีมชาติอื่นๆได้นะครับวันนี้ก็หมดเวลาของช่วง Let's Talk แล้วนะครับเดี๋ยวเราพักครู่เดียวแล้วช่วงหน้ากลับมาอยู่กันต่อในรายการ Welcome Bro Weekend ครับ